very, very, loud sometimes.
Ah, okay. No
So I
problem.
apologize if you hear any noise.
That's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my energizing interviews today with the beautiful guest, Ruta Ka. Ruta, we had the opportunity to meet only once in the past, but I think Barbara was or working with a group of women, and I was one of them. And you joined us for one of the sessions where you beautifully, in such a feminine way, described your story and the relationship we should all heal and then look after between ourselves and our bodies. And I remember it made such a profound impact on me, even though I knew that we are not the body. There was something in this conversation with you that really touched me and made me look differently at this relationship. So today we will be discussing the relationship we can heal and build with our sacred bodies, our temples. But before that, Ruta, could you please tell us few words about yourself, about your background, where and how and when did your story as a mentor began, and what are you doing today? How do you help women?
Okay. So in a short, some time ago, I needed to come up with the so-called elevator pitch. So how would I introduce myself in a few sentences? So I am Ruta Ka. I am emotional well-being practitioner, trauma integration specialist, and a holistic womb healing enthusiast. I also call myself relationship coach, with relationship with yourself, with relationship with your bodies, and like you said, in the last few years, what became a focus of mine and probably the interesting area for me is uh, femininity, feminine connection, and also our connection with the bodies.
Mhm.
So I think for women, it is pretty difficult relationship for many of us. And just to tell you a little bit of my background about my own relationship with the body is, so I'm from Lithuania. Lithuania is one of the Eastern European countries in Europe. And I'm born in 80s, and in 80s, and when I was growing up and when I was a teenager, there was this mania about being like a model, looking like a model, being slim, being beautiful, being like from the magazine,
Mhm.
and also obsession about being thin.
Mhm.
So I was lucky until I hit my puberty, and I was, like up until I was like pretty tall and quite skinny, and I was like, okay, you could be a model. I even went in a model school for teenagers for some time, and then as my body started develop, as it happens to every woman, at some point I noticed, oh my god, I'm no longer the thinnest girl in a class. Oh my god, I'm no longer the skinniest girl in a class. And that started to feel like something is getting a little bit out of control.
Mhm.
So it was kind of fine up until later when I left my small town and I went to study in capital, capital called Vilnius. And I don't know what happened to me, but I gained lots of weight. Probably a little bit of a stress, probably a little bit, being away from home, not having your supportive environment, being outside of your comfort zone. I was just eating so much cakes and things like that. And this is when I started to kind of really abuse myself with the diets, kind of nearly to the point of anorexia, because somebody commented on me behind kind of my back as like, oh, um watch out what you eat. You don't want to become like, who. And they didn't know I heard this, but I have heard this, and it really kind of hurt me because while I was gaining weight, I was actually pretty happy with myself, and it wasn't like I was weighing 200 kilograms or something like that, but I was no longer thin. And when I heard that comment, it actually hurt me so deeply that I started to go with these obsessive diets,
Mhm.
wanting to be thin, almost not eating like tiny portion, like in the morning, drinking tea, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to run around the stadium. and I succeeded to kind of get rid of lots of weight and be thin. But when I came to UK, I would be curious to know about your perspective of that. But when I came to UK and suddenly have complete change of routine in 20s, I absolutely kind of gain all the weight back and more and more and more up until I reached like 94 kilos or something like that, which was a lot for me. um yeah, and then I got into this absolute self-hate mode. I
Mm,
suffered with bulimia. I was eating food, I tried to throw up the food, I kind of would reward myself, but then I would kind of take everything out. And I remember finding, years after that, I found a diary of mine which I kept, because I didn't really have much friends at that point because also of my language barrier. And in the diary, I would write to about myself to myself. I hate myself. I really hate myself. I really hate myself. So yeah, and so my journey is kind of like a really painful relationship with the body, with trying to control the body. I know this is not very popular in, let's say, spiritual community, but I also done some plastic surgeries, which some people would say like, oh my god, you cannot do this, you need to accept yourself. But for me, some of that was actually took me to the next level where I was able to heal, because the level of disempowerment that I felt towards my body was so disproportionate to, when I think about it, disproportionate, I can say like disproportionate. Oh my god, you're not even obese, you can still walk, you just don't really fit in your jeans. But the relation was like really pure self-hate, self-abuse. So it's almost like you live with the enemy in your own body, you hate yourself, you abuse yourself. So that's the kind of like a painful part of my journey. And then healing happened, I think, later in my 30s. But I think my 20s, or biggest portion of my 20s, I was really kind of like a suffering and going between hate and like forcing myself to exercise or to not eat, and it was
mm,
like very, very abusive relationship.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can absolutely emphasize with you because I went through exactly the same kind of scenario with my own body. Obviously, when you are born in the 80s, like I was too, you have a complete zero knowledge about the body awareness, what they
Yeah.
did in school. They brought you a packet of sanitary towels when the time was close,
Yeah.
and nobody explained to us anything, how to
Yeah.
cultivate, how to build this relationship with your body, never mind about feeling feminine,
Yeah.
invite this beauty, this self-love inside. um, and yeah, my relationship with my body was exactly the same, going through a torture. And also it happened just by one comment when I was maybe, I don't know, 12 or 13,
Right.
by a colleague from a class. And from that point, drastic diets, exercising, bulimia as well, extreme dieting. I didn't go through the plastic surgeries, but I have to say that nearing my 40s now, it is only now when I'm learning through the inner work, this completely new perspective on the relationship with the body, how profound it can be, how beautiful the friendship with your own body that has its own consciousness and you can communicate with her can be, and how you can support one another. So this is my turning point. I've been probably working on it for a year now. I'm kind of getting there. I'm building this relationship. But tell me, what was your turning point?
So I think my turning point in a very funny way was actually finding spirituality. It was
Mm,
not so much about, like religion or following any kind of like a philosophy, but understanding how the consciousness work, and understanding also like, you know all starts from that place where you're like, oh, okay, I'm not just this physical being. Okay, I'm not just this ego. And then like in the beginning of a spiritual journey, you like kind of disassociate. Okay, well, all of this doesn't matter. All the thing that is beyond that matters. But then at some point, there is this turning point where you kind of understand. Hold on, hold on, hold on. This body which I have is actually the only thing that I'm gonna get to experience this life, this time. I am not gonna get another body. None of us will. None of us are gonna get another body. And the body itself also, when once you stop treating it as furniture, and you start to understand that every cell, every organ is also alive, is also kind of bursting with the energy. It also has a consciousness. Then you start to think, okay, so first of all, I'm not alone. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I also have this. So this is not actually something which is against me, especially like, what you said about being woman and becoming, turning into that point in your life where you no longer a girl, but suddenly starting to get, let's say, your periods, breasts, hips, and things like that, and then you start to be so embarrassed about it. It feels like your body kind of turned against you. It feels like your body is actually doing something. When you start to have periods, it feels like, oh my god, I either am so embarrassed of it, I need to hide it, or oh, it's so inconvenient, is pain, I need to numb it, or oh, I just want to suppress it, and then you take contraceptive pills or something like few months in a row so you don't even have that, because the feeling is like your body turned against you. But I think my turning point was kind of like understanding body is not like the enemy that you are in it and you need to fight. The body is there for you to experience the life, experience the physical reality. And like, that's the only vehicle, that's the only house, that's the only location that we're going to get in this turn of being alive. So, and that body is not going anywhere unless
Mm,
we die. So before we die, if we have a terrible relationship with our body, and most people do, most people,
mm.
they have like a zero relationship with the body. Body is just there, and they don't really connect with the body. Can't blame them because nobody teaches us how to do that in the
Absolutely.
school. You know what I mean? It's like,
Absolutely. Mm,
and so I think for me it was that point when you on your spiritual journey, and you're at the point of a spiritual journey where you understand that the spiritual things are not just up there. The spiritual things are also up here. And also, all of this is also a spiritual
yeah.
expression of a spiritual experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. But you know what? I mean, there is another important aspect I feel that is worth mentioning. That apart from building this distorted relationship with our bodies from a very young age, another aspect that is not helping to have this relationship is the way we've been programmed actually to run our lives, to be stuck in our heads, to run through the day, completely not be in and out, and therefore we are completely disconnected from experiencing life through our bodies. I think that we unfortunately came to a point that the only sort of like this very distorted connection with our bodies we have is the sexual act that
Mhm.
even 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 the sexual act these days very often is something completely not appreciated and not experienced at all in a way that it can be experienced. So we minimize the beautiful, amazing capability of experiencing life through physical senses to something so small. And therefore, even though, as you said, we have this temple, we have this vehicle, we are not living through the bodies. We're
Yeah.
just stuck here, just constantly running and chasing and competing, not allowing all the senses to sink in. We are often out of the body, not in a body, when I work with the women and we do this exercise, when we are dropping down into the body and we are allowing, inviting this energy to find its own place, when you can feel how the energy is stretching into the furthest, spaces, little spaces within this physical body, and you feel this sensing, tingling sensations all over you. This is such a profound um, meeting, with the body. Like I
Yeah.
feel myself, I experience myself through my physical body, and this is so sad, because actually the main creator, the human design, this human being has been created in a way that we can experience life in such a profound, orgasmic ways on each single level, and no one is teaching about that. No one is teaching us about that.
Yeah.
All we are being programmed is to disconnect. And then
Yeah.
when it comes to feminine power, actually our feminine power lies within the connection with our bodies, with our warmth, through sensing and sensoring information that are coming to us through the physical,
Yeah.
because the body can translate all those energies that are coming in and give us, all the information that we need, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree about even the sensuality. Like sensuality for women, for example, is a problem, or let's say even some women have a problem with experiencing, let's say, pleasure in a sexual way. And this is not so much because they're, oh, I have a problem, I need some medicine, or I have a problem, there is something wrong with me physically, I need some hormones or whatever, or stimulants. Most of the time is because we have actually disconnected from our bodies, and we cannot experience the sensations through our bodies. But like you said, it's so much more than that. When, especially for a female, women have to be sensual, we have to sense things, we have to sense things physically. Where the sensing is coming from, it's not so much that is coming through there, because this is of us, which is actually part of this physical reality. The spiritual stuff, well, of course, we can go into philosophical discussion about the difference between physical reality or not. But if we only experience life through here, through the eyes, through what we think, we we kind of like have you, the equivalent is like having two cells that is sensing the life. When we start to drop into our bodies, what we starting to have eyes, we starting to have hearts all
I love
over
it.
the body, and we all of these receptors that we have in our body, they become
Mhm.
active and they receive this information. Of course, uncomfortable to be in a body, it was very painful, and at some point we decided, okay, we're not even gonna be in a body, we're just gonna exist from this tower of looking down to my life and just kind of making decisions and using this body. But we don't have a full experience. It's like standing in a tower and controlling the speedboat going in the ocean, but not really being in a speedboat. Is not really feeling the wind, it's not really seeing the water. So yeah, and it's because of trauma. For most women, it's been too much of a painful experience to be in a body. Lots of them have inherited this, you know us through our mothers.
Yeah.
Most of our mothers didn't have a good relationship with their body. I remember my mom continuously saying, oh my god, I have so many kids. I have gained so much weight. I need to have a diet. I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight again. Oh my God, I'm so ugly. I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight. So for example, I didn't have a healthy role model, like a healthy feminine role model. What it's like to be a woman, what it's
Mhm.
like to be in a body, what it's like to use your body, but not use your body for the manipulative purposes, but more like use your body. It's like you have a bank account with 1 million and all you use is like a 50 pounds.
That's a good comparison. Very good. investment. I love it. I love also when you said that, we have all those eyes and hearts, all over our bodies, we can sense. And it's so powerful, especially what I found after doing work on my womb with my mentor, is
Yeah.
that I actually start sensing things that are about to happen, or because I'm a psychic and medium, to
Mm-hmm.
actually through my tummy space. So
Mm-hmm.
before it was kind of coming onto me, but right now my tummy became like a big sensor
Mm-hmm.
that is just informing me about, the things that are coming, that the creation is about to happen, manifestation is
Yeah.
about to happen. And this is profound. This is profound. Again, sexual power, sexual energies,
Yeah.
that connection to your body will lead you to reconnecting with your sexual powers too. We are
Yeah.
not talking about, using it, as you said, in a negative way, but sexual energy as a creative force,
Yeah.
that, creates this whole universe, right?
Yeah.
So we have been stripped away through those generations, and I'm not blaming the generations, because everything happened by the design.
Yeah.
And actually those generations of women that didn't have this relationship at all, they
Yeah.
already took away some trauma from the generations before, so we don't have to carry that
Yeah.
much. But nevertheless, I'm so happy that we are finally coming to the point where the divine feminine is rising, and she's waking up to all those powers that have been taken away, just because we are so powerful, and we are reconnecting, climbing our power back, and that is happening on all levels, spiritual levels, psychic levels, and the physical levels, because body is a miraculous machine. And actually this is pure miracle, which is the manifestation of a god and goddess in the
Yeah.
matter, within the matter. So we should never ever look at our bodies less than a divine miracle, right?
Um, you're right. However, I understand that, like, it's sometimes hard to jump from self-hate into, like, oh my God, my body is a temple. So I
Yeah,
think
I understand.
is,
Yeah,
wherever is the place to start, even like for many women, is awareness of I can have relationship with my body. It's like, whoa, well, okay, I hate my body, I really dislike my
mm,
body. And it can be the beginning of a relationship. So even before we go to the space, like, this is a temple, this is a sacred, you treat it as a sacred entity, you treat it as
mm,
a sacred being. Even before we reach that stage, it is still healthier to have any relationship with your body, if before let instead of not having any. Like, even with the babies, there was a research made that the worst thing you can do for a baby, for a human being, is blank expression, no expression, no nothing. So being ignored is the worst thing. So it's the same with any humans, any beings, any live beings, plants, animals. Also, let's say if we take our body as another entity, the worst thing we can do is, like, we indifferent. Then of course we can hate it, but improvement to any of that is start to have some conversation. And once we start to have some conversation, once you have some relationship, when then we can work from there. We can work from there, because otherwise, like you
yeah,
said, it's like we're gonna completely miss out the whole experience of.
yeah. I mean, like with every healing journey, I guess we all want to have the result right
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what we need to also learn is to enjoy the process, because this is the process, is the time when we're gonna gain the most knowledge and experience from. And absolutely, I totally agree with you that, it will not happen overnight, that
Yeah.
your relationship suddenly will be blooming. Yes, your perspective may change overnight. You may become more aware through the work with a coach, for example, or watching an interview. But
Yeah.
then there's, this time where, with respect and almost like a humility, you start building this relationship.
Yeah.
And I when I had a conversation with her, with
Yeah.
her, for example, about dieting. So I decided, okay, I feel like I shed a lot of within my mind space, and because the body is still an expression, an illusion, an expression of the mind, I felt I'm ready to to shed some of my weight. And but because I knew my history of drastic dieting, it was for me a big no. I said I definitely am not doing it in a drastic way, but I don't know any other way, so what do I do? And I decided to just connect with her, and I asked her, what do you need? How would you like to do it? How can we help each other out? What kind of exercises you would like? What would you like to receive from me? And the funny thing she said, the first thing she said was, the first thing I would like to receive from you is touch. If you have, if you can easily connect, and all of us can connect, but if you can listen, she will tell you exactly what kind of foods she would like to eat that will help you to lose the weight, not by limiting the food, but by eating healthy and what your body actually needs at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if your body is dehydrated, or is lacking some supplements, you will need a specific foods, and she knows exactly what she needs. And then she also said, I asked her a few questions about this drastic dieting, and she said something, that every time I was imposing this, drastic, fast dieting, that was like a torture. That
Mhm.
was like a torture, uh,
Yeah.
committed on someone that is here only to love you and serve you. So that kind of showed me how distorted this relationship, and I felt like, oh my god, I did that so many times. So
Yeah.
obviously I'm not gonna do it again, having this awareness. And we made an agreement, because I said, I know you know how much we can or should lose, how to lose it. I trust you completely. I know I don't have to force you, over exercise you, over tire you, especially that we are going through such a drastic energetic shifts right now. To impose a lot of physical exercises would be
Yeah.
almost cruel as well. So we just made this agreement. She's telling me what she would like to eat, drink,
Mhm.
how many times we are ready to go for a walk, how many times we can do yoga, obviously stretching, all that
Yeah.
exercises to release the old energy. She loves dancing. She asked me, let's dance, let's touch, let's dance. And that was the feminine response, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I think it's like we don't we don't need to go and see a specialist to
No.
tell us how to be.
Mm.
If we start to listen, if we start to listen and kind of like a tune in into our beings, we will know. And I know it's not easy for everybody, especially if some women didn't have relationship with their bodies or even like a connection with intuitive. But even things like you said, like for example starting to touch yourself, just to kind of like, okay, I'm touching myself, how does it feel? You feel the response, you start to feel the response, you start to feel, okay, I stroke myself gently. How
Mm.
does it feel? Does it feel, can I feel pleasure? Does it feel nice? Okay, if I do it strongly, okay, that's not something I like. Okay, so you can even start kind of like experimenting with yourself, and you can develop that sensitivity to start to understand your body's signals, to how your body would like to be treated. And that doesn't just include exercises and food, it also includes, this environment is not good for me, this auric field of this person I don't like, this bar or restaurant where I went into, oh, I just don't feel comfortable, there is something in it, I just don't feel comfortable. Sometimes you don't need to have a logical reason, sometimes it might be
Absolutely.
could be nice place, but your body is sending you signals, I don't feel comfortable. That means there is something in the energetic makeup of that place which is not creating well-being for you, for your body.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a wonderful tool, it's a wonderful being, and it can be your best friend. And if it can become your best friend, that's the, one of the best things you can have, because then you're
Mm.
not going to have a crisis. Then, I'm also approaching my 40s, so, and lots of women, then there is middle age crisis, I think maybe 40s, maybe 50s. But
I don't know
when,
what you mean.
no, I don't know, I heard of it, I have heard of it. But when you kind of like when you go with your body as a companion, not like, oh, I'm gonna love you as long as you, or I'm gonna find you useful as long as you beautiful, and as long as you meet whatever the standards I tell you to. It's very kind of like a despotic relationship.
Very true. Yeah.
But when you're like, okay, you're mine, I'm with you with me. Hopefully, we have lots of decades together. Let's make sure we do the best we can. It's completely different experience.
Yeah. And you wouldn't believe, once you start this friendly cooperation, loving cooperation, whatever you wish, however you wish to improve your body health, it's going to work much quicker because it's done out of love, and that
Yeah,
changes everything.
yeah,
Ruta, I have a question for you, because
mhm,
we can obviously talk, we have our own experience with the healing, and I know you work with women on a womb space too.
yeah.
But how could you, what would you say to women who are just at the beginning of healing their relationship, either with the bodies or their own sexuality? There's a lot of women who are now just coming to terms that they actually went through sexual trauma, because we learned that, sexual trauma may not only be just an actual, for example, rape, but
Mhm.
it's actually much broader spectrum. There is a lot of women who are finding very difficult to actually connect with their own sexuality or sensuality. What would you say to them?
Self compassion, gentleness, no pressure, patience. It's like as if you had a best friend who has suffered something like that. You don't need to beat yourself into healing. You do not need to beat yourself into, oh my God, I need to open up my sexuality now and I need to start having explosive orgasms and things like that. No, at all. Sometimes healing looks like I don't want to do it at all. I need to like have few months or whatever the time that you need. I actually want to just step away completely of it. So I would say like one thing that you don't want to do is force yourself to do anything. Anything like including healing, including some kind of healing practices. If you need to force yourself doing that something, there is the resistance means some part of you is not on board, and if some part of you not on board, either you need to go gently and to that part and find out, okay, why you not on board, and
Mm,
whatever you find out, you need to honor and respect that. But the worst thing that you can do is force yourself either to heal too fast, because that's the same as like, okay, I need to become very successful. I'm going to work 24 hours per day, like 5 days per week, or oh, I need to find it, I now need to be sexually active, or I need to find a husband, and I'm just gonna, like gonna go and date 20 guys in 5 days, and then you just go like a marathon. Maybe some women can do that, but what I feel is really needed for women who are at the beginning of the journey is self-compassion, including if you're not where you want to be, including if there is something that is hard for you to accept, including if you feel a complete mess. That's
mm,
okay. That's actually okay. Allow yourself that time to be the mess. You
absolutely, I
need that.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I think if we rush through any healing process, we will definitely literally just touch base on what is really important within this process, and then we will be put back into this process in a while anyway.
Yeah.
Because if we're not going to go through it with all our senses, with all the understanding, and with all our heart, without this compassion, we're going to have to do it all over again at some point.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. And we are here to learn the self love, self compassion, and every healing is an opportunity to kind of, step into that mode.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, because when we rush, we cannot have a depth. If we rush, it's like if we cut the grass, it's just gonna grow back. If we pull things by the root, these things that we pull out, some of them may still have a little root left, they may still come back, but it will be less chance for that happening. And this is not to say that it cannot happen anyways. Healing comes in cycles. We heal something, and then a few years later, it's like, oh my God, I thought I healed this. Why is coming up again? It's not that it's coming up again, it's coming for a different level of healing. We
Mm,
healed what we are ready to heal. We were not ready to heal whatever the other thing we needed to heal. When we're ready to heal that other level, deeper level, that level comes up. But also, that doesn't mean that, like we need to be stuck in one place and like, that's it. I need to now heal completely. That's another, I believe, mistake. For example, I need to heal myself completely from my previous relationship before I can go to another relationship, and that takes 20 years. Because some of the healing experience might be having relationship which is better in some way than the previous relationship, or maybe some healing has to happen in relationships. So it's the same with the body. It's the same with like self acceptance and this femininity. It's like, okay, you do something. We don't need to become like obsessed. It's like, oh my God, I now have a schedule and I have created goal. Oh no, I'm in a masculine energy. This is so bad. I need to go back into femininity and be nice. This is kind of like a fake, superficial, and it doesn't really work like that. So we need to allow that flower to grow. We need to water it. If it doesn't grow, maybe it's not the season.
nicely said.
You
Self
know?
acceptance. Yeah, self acceptance really popped out for me when you said this word. What can you say about like a self acceptance? What kind of practices you could advise
Oh,
women to?
oh, I can say about self acceptance. I'm very much for radical self acceptance. And what does it mean to me? Radical self acceptance. So, for example, some people say, oh, you need to completely accept, the way you are. And lots of people would interpret that, okay, I just need to accept myself fully and, be happy with that. To me, radical self acceptance is this: I accept myself, including the things I cannot accept about myself. So that's the radical self acceptance. I accept myself and I accept myself, including the fact that currently I hate this or that. And this is my reality. So this is my radical self acceptance. It's kind of like a little bit of a trick, but it's a good trick. It's like we don't say like, oh, I'm so self accepting, I'm just accepting myself now, and then somewhere in the subconscious, but I really hate my tights, or I really hate my body shape, or I really hate something else, but I just you know force myself to accept myself. No, radical self acceptance is like, you know what, I accept myself, including the fact that there is something that I currently hate about myself or dislike about myself, but I accepted this is my truth right now. And once we do that, it's actually we are in a better position than, oh, I'm so self loving and accepting, you know, but then secretly, oh, but I really hate my legs or something, because it's more honest
Yeah,
place,
I totally agree
you know.
because I'm working with a group of women now. We are going through inner child, inner teenager. We're just starting inner teenager, which will be the hardcore work because this is when she's going into hormonal changes and all that. But we've been talking about the aspect of full acceptance when what happens when you reject 1% of self, that you are actually rejecting the whole 100. And to fully accept yourself, you need to accept the light, which is the things that you feel happy about, and the shadow, because the shadow is actually the aspect of you that did not receive the love that it needed and became the
Yeah,
shadow. So actually, the more we accept the parts of ourselves, now we are talking about the physicality,
yeah,
the quicker we're going to actually heal, because once this part of you, this physical part of you, this extension of you will receive that information that runs through all your cells, that okay, I may not be what I'm capable of being, of looking like, or whatever, but
yeah,
I'm having this acceptance,
yeah,
getting this acceptance. So that already comes from a place of love. So
yeah,
that's huge. It's if you you say, I accept myself, I feel I have beautiful eyes, I like this and this about myself, but I'm gonna go and cut off, a little bit of this and a little bit of that,
Mhm.
then you are rejecting the whole self.
Yeah,
That's
it's like so of course physically we can say that, but also emotionally it works exactly the same way. I think probably emotional is more important than the physical. Why? Because physical is manifested non-physical. So it starts first of all as non-physical, then it manifests as physical. So when we are like um, even with this, let's say, trend and popular spiritual kind of culture where like I need to be so loving and unconditional, but inside of me there is this bitch that hates things, and like, oh, I am actually really so jealous, or oh, I'm really like I cannot really accept it that let's say I don't know that woman or that uh she's I don't know better than me or she did that better than me. These things are very very human experiences that we have. And exactly like you said, so for example, I have a jealous part and I say no, but I'm okay, I'm so happy for her. That part is not accepted. That part is like, oh, this is a shadow part, I shouldn't have this as a aligned divine feminine type of woman, so I'm just gonna put her under the carpet. But actually we lose our power, because when we take out that part who's like, oh, hateful bitch part, for example, we take that part out, she has lots of power. And yeah, maybe she's not happy with something, and yeah, maybe she is having ego issues, and yeah, but you know what, if we don't use it, it's like kind of, it's exactly the same example with the bank. It's like, okay, we can spend so much money, but we only using that much because all of that is put somewhere under the carpet or under freeze. So the shadow parts, like you said, are the parts that have been rejected, and some of them, they
Mm,
actually hold our power. They look so miserable, lots of them look so miserable, because how would you not be miserable if you've been rejected all of your life? The same goes with our aspects of ourselves. Once we start to pull them out and we say, okay, yes, okay, fine, you not most lovely part that I have, but you're mine. Come here, all right, okay, come here, you have space. uh it's you're stronger, you're better, and you're more real.
yeah, and energy speaks louder than your words anyway. So you can
Yeah,
actually, you can speak whatever you want, but the energy will speak for you much louder.
yeah,
So it's so true. I mean, I just wanted to maybe mention one more thing about the shadow aspect,
yeah,
because pe- people are so avoiding this topic. We are often scared of looking into our shadow's eyes. From my own experience, I can tell you that there was an aspect of me that I was literally so scared of, because out of years and years and years of abandonment and rejection, she became an aspect of me that I perceived almost as evil. And
mhm,
therefore, I was completely turning my head away from her. And she was the aspect of my inner teenager. And it came to a point that whenever I felt I'm ready to up level, for example, it doesn't matter if it's going to be business, your personal life, or even your relationship with your body, because this aspect of me was actually, when she was, I don't know, maybe 17, she was self-harming, she was, bulimic and all that.
yeah,
And I did so much work on releasing and forgiving all those people that, harmed me, helped me to create this shadow. But what I didn't realize was I was too scared to face the emotions she was going through. And
mm,
that created a massive, massive blockage, internal blockage, uh, on all levels, on the relationship with my body, like emotional relationship with myself and everything else. And whenever I was up leveling, she was pulling me down. And I just wanted to to mention when we are at the topic of the shadow that it is always very, very important to find out and ask the shadow what made her this shadow. What are her feelings, emotions? Let the victim speak. I'm not promoting victim mentality, but what we need to do before we can shift from that space is allow the victim to speak. So when I finally looked her in the eyes and I invited her in to speak through me, to feel those emotions once again. Some say, it's like going back and rubbing, the same shit, and smell the smell again. But you know what? Once I allowed her to speak, what came through was so huge and but so releasing.
Yeah.
And that's when I felt it's
Yeah.
gone. It's gone. So any type of a shadow that you are scared to look at, the sooner you do that with compassion, with love, because this is the aspect that receive the least love, the
Yeah.
least attention, the quicker you're gonna feel lighter, and it's gonna this energy will spread into all the aspects of your life again, because she will
Yeah.
be released. So it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, absolutely. I work a lot with the women doing this shadow work, and majority of that work is actually going back into painful experiences.
Mm,
Uh, Not all of work, but why? Because sometimes we cannot do it alone. Sometimes it's too scary to actually go and look at it alone. But yeah, what you said, like some people say, okay, why to rub the same shit again? Why? If you still feel it, if you still can't look at it, it's very real. That reality is still active. That
absolutely.
wound is still active. That trauma is active. And you can think like, oh, I'm just going to pretend it's not there. But just think about the iceberg. The physical reality and what you understand is just the tip of the iceberg. The majority of what is driving your actions and energy is actually the iceberg under the water. So if it's so painful to you that you can't even look at it, I mean, of course there are several methods of dealing with the shadow work. There is some ways that are more gentle, some ways are kind of like a surgery. You kind of cut right through it and you go right in. But if if you can't do that, that thing cannot heal. It's like you have something in a wound, you have something in your wound and you don't open it for the air and for that to come out. And also, usually, the idea of looking at it is scarier than looking at it. When you look at it really, you there is nothing stronger you can do to yourself. There is nothing that gives more confidence to you as a human being as you bloody look at the thing that is most painful, that you fear the most. Once you done that, nothing is scary because that was your demon. That was your nightmare. That was the thing that you were running away. That was the thing that you were trying to avoid by doing all these other things. Oh, I just don't want to look at it. And exactly like you said, we can run for some distance, but at some point, it's like there is that block
mm,
and there is no going anywhere unless we're going to look at it. So I think like the significance of shadow work is like unbelievable, and what shadow work can do to you versus the positive focus. Positive focus is great, and some of us sometimes we have a characters and the direction of mind that is very negative, so then positive changing into positive mindset is it can be very beneficial. But if we have all of these wounds bleeding there, I was like, oh, I'm so positive, I just don't, I'm just focusing on my pain, I need to focus on some beautiful flowers or something. I mean, like, it's like, I don't know. It's like putting match a match to a broken leg and saying, "Okay, now it's fine. Let's continue to run the marathon." It's ridiculous, basically.
mm,
So yeah, and I think for lots of women, especially especially when it comes to relationship with ourselves, even with our femininity. So huge part of femininity is the body, but it's not just that. Our relationship with ourselves as a woman, there is hugely painful associations and experiences hidden in the shadow that we need to go and have a look at it. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. with the improvements in our life.
It will be just like putting one mask after the other, right? The
Yeah,
spiritual, bypassed mask. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally
Mm.
agree. Absolutely. Ruta, in a post, I put that you prepared very kindly a special promotion and offer. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I have this event. It's like a group event. It's going to be live. It's going to be on a Zoom meeting. So kind of all of us will come together rather than you just going to be watching. You will have an opportunity to interact with each other and me. It's called Expressed Feminine Cleanse. It's going to be approximately 90 minutes session, and it is designed to I say it's kind of like a taking a shower, like a taking a shower. Imagine if we've been running, exercising, and sweating, and we kind of got ourselves a bit greasy, a bit dirty, a bit dusty. This feminine energy cleanse kind of helps us to eliminate and let go some of that dust and debris that we picked up and kind of go back in the flow. So I'm not going to claim it would open up all of your wounds and take the things from the shadow. We're not going to do that in that session. But if
Mhm.
you want something like a gentle, if you, for example, if you feel a little bit stuck as a woman, or maybe you exploring your feminine energy and you don't know how to get in that feminine flow, it's going to happen next Saturday, not but next Saturday on the 28th of May. And all the viewers and friends of the viewers who can see this, if you use a code, I think there is a link for
Yeah,
my Eventbrite page. If you use the link Radiant Woman, you get 50% discount,
that's a big
which
discount.
it's a big discount. It's not very expensive. It's just, I think it works out £5 55 or something like that. I wanted to make it accessible. I wanted to make it um genuine. I wanted to make it like, you step in, you try, you see how it feels, and then if you like it, you can join for more. So I invite all the ladies that resonate with this type of work and who wants to try
Beautiful.
out what it's like to be in a feminine flow to come and join us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Ruta. Would you like to say a final few words to women who are maybe working on the relationship with their bodies?
So I just want to tell you this, all of you ladies who are working with your bodies. The fact that you are working with your bodies, the fact that you decided to work on your femininity is already half healing done. There is nothing you can do wrong. There is nothing where you need to push yourself or rush yourself to get to. You're already there. You're part of us. You're part of a sisterhood, or you're part of a womanhood. You're part of this new divine feminine and goddess uh, collective consciousness, because you know that the work that you're going to do is going to be very meaningful, and it's going to change the balance of the energies in the world. So, yeah.
Yes, totally. I so agree with that. Thank you so much, Ruta. It was amazing to have you as a guest. Thank you for sharing everything with us. And we
Thank
wish you all the best, all good luck. And to everyone who would like to join Ruta, the link to her website is under this in this post.
Yeah,
Ruta, could you leave a post under this video as well, just everyone can find it easily
sure.
and
Yeah.
join the events in two coming weeks. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice relationship with your bodies.
Thank you, Ruta.